Welcome to Wolfson College. My name is Tim Hitchens, I'm the president of the college, and tonight we have an extraordinary performance for you. We have a thriving community of visiting scholars. Some of you may be among that community, and every term we are presented with a list of potential new visiting scholars. And a couple of terms ago we were presented with the CV of a young man who was a concert pianist from Kazakhstan. But he was presented to us not by one of our colleagues particularly interested in music, but by one of our colleagues, indeed, who's here tonight, expert in quantum physics. And so Rakhat-Bi has now been with us for about a term. He's from Kazakhstan. If I told you that he has already had at least 3 albums produced of his music, he's composed at least 150 pieces himself, and yet he was only born in February 1999, you will judge quite how prodigious a talent he is. It's been wonderful having him with us this term, joining him at the lunch table for conversations both on music and on quantum physics. And we are delighted that he will be both playing and introducing some work for us tonight. A brief word to say thank you for those of you who've contributed to our AMREF charity as part of this event. AMREF is a charity that looks after particularly women's health in East Africa, and it's our college charity, so anything you can do to help, much appreciated. And so without any further ado, may I welcome to the stage Rakhat-Bi.
Yeah, many thanks for Sir Tim Hitchens for such a wonderful introduction. I'm very happy to be here today, and these 2 months, 1 term as a visiting scholar, this period was probably the most happy 2 months in my life, and I really enjoyed being here in such an enriching community of such diverse people and geniuses in their fields. I am very grateful for Vlad Cathedral and Chiara Marletto for inviting me here, opening for me the gates of Oxford and introducing me to quantum community. Yeah, my topic of my research was quantum mechanics and contemporary music. I have already given a talk here, organized by Bob Kucke and Quantum Foundations. And today's concert is my token of gratitude for Wolfson College and everyone who came here. Well, in general, today's concert will be dedicated to very classical piano repertoire. Classical music, as we call it, was born exactly after classical mechanics of Isaac Newton were established. And tonality in music is a kind of analog of gravity, and sonata form is a reflection of dialectics in music. While contemporary music, what I'm doing, was born in the very beginning of 20th century, where fundamental discoveries were made in physics, such as the structure of the atom by Ernst Rutherford, relativity by Albert Einstein, and quantum mechanics by Bohr, Planck, Dirac, Schrödinger, Heisenberg, Pauli, and many other people. So in today's concert, I would present works of various classical composers. And as a start, I would like to begin with Frédéric Chopin's Fantaisie-Impromptu. It's one of the most well-known pieces by Chopin, which he wrote when he was only 24 years old. But surprisingly, this work was not published during his lifetime, and it's now it already became one of the pinnacles of romantic piano repertoire. The program of the concert is designed in such a way to show the development of music from late Baroque until early 20th century. So now I will perform Toccata, the first movement from Johann Sebastian Bach's Partita number 6. Bach is one of the most important and significant composers in the history of music. As Robert Schumann said, music owes to Bach as much as religion owes to its founder. And as I wrote one of my early articles, if Johann Sebastian Bach is Isaac Newton of music, then Stockhausen is Albert Einstein. And actually, physicist, Nobel Prize winner Frank Wilczek from MIT even said that Bach was a great manipulator of patterns, as well as we know, of course, the famous book by Douglas Hofstadter, Gödel, Escher, Bach. So now we will hear the fabulous and fantastic structures of counterpoint made by its greatest master in history, Johann Sebastian Bach. Now I will perform first movement from Sonata number 16 by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. As Albert Einstein once said, I see the music of Mozart as a reflection of the inner beauty of the universe. And Mozart is actually the favorite composer of Wolfson College fellow David Deutsch. Actually, this piano sonata, and especially its first movement, was the piece which Werner Heisenberg, who formulated the famous uncertainty principle, so he loved this sonata the most among all other piano repertoire and highly respected the music of Mozart. Actually, Heisenberg himself once performed with the orchestra Mozart's piano concerto. So now, first movement from Mozart sonata. Well, now he will hear probably the most famous piece in piano repertoire, Für Elise by Ludwig van Beethoven. Despite it being extremely popular nowadays, during the lifetime of Ludwig van Beethoven, it was almost unknown. It was discovered by musicologist Ludwig Noll 40 years after the death of composer. And even nowadays, this Bagatelle remains a big mystery, in the sense that who is this Elise? For example, famous Beethoven scholar Max Unger stated that it was dedicated to Teresa Malfatti, who was a lifelong friend and a student of Beethoven. While recently, a German musicologist Klaus Martin Koppitz stated that it was dedicated to Elisabeth Röckel, who was a famous soprano singer during the time of Beethoven. And Canadian musicologist Rita Steblin developed a hypothesis that this piece was dedicated to Elise Barenfeld, who was a child prodigy during the time of Beethoven. So, despite the fact that dedication of this piece remains terra incognita, we still can enjoy the great music.
Oh.
So now we come to Romantic piano repertoire, the time when piano was established as a king of instruments, and especially to the works of Frédéric Chopin, who was a real poet of this instrument. And now I would like to play his Ballade number 1, G minor, which remains one of the most important, significant, and deep works in the whole oeuvre of Frédéric Chopin, despite the fact that it was written when Chopin was only 25 years old. So this is one of the large-scale works which show not only the piano brilliance of Chopin, but the fact that he was a real philosopher of this instrument, and he was a real master of form and dramaturgy. Now I will play the second Ballade of Chopin in F major, which was dedicated to another great composer, Robert Schumann. This ballade is quite different to the first one and shows the great variety and the range of compositional styles of Frédéric Chopin. now I will play music by Franz Liszt, great Hungarian composer, especially his piece La Cloche de Genève from the cycle The Years of Pilgrimage. Franz Liszt was probably the most prolific piano composer ever, who extolled this instrument to the scale of full orchestral timbres, and he was a master of not only great form but creating fantastic multidimensional soundscapes, which is very visible and hearable, especially in his piano music. So this piece, Nocturne, metaphorically represents the bells of Genève, and Franz Liszt was an interesting case because if, for example, Franz Peter Schubert wrote all the scores almost instantly, as well as Mozart didn't have any sketches, according to the legend. Franz Liszt was the one who was working on every note of his piece until he felt that it is perfection. So in his music, we can finally say that it is a case where if you change even one single note, you will ruin the whole construction. So please enjoy music of Franz Liszt. So now we come to the very end of 19th century and the beginning of 20th century with the music of Alexandre Scriabin. I will play his very famous Etude, Opus 8, number 12, D-sharp minor, which was one of the favorite pieces of Horowitz, Sofronitsky, and large number of other great pianists. This is a piece written in 1894, where you already can hear how Scriabin tries to go beyond the conventional rules of tonality, of piano technique, and literally creates new worlds within the instrument of piano texture. Among musicologists and lovers of music, this piece was also sometimes referred as a revolutionary etude, because by its emotional scope and expressive power, people think that it's reflected or even predicted the October Revolution in Russia. So, Etude by Alexandre Scriabin. Well, now I'm going to play the final piece of today's concert. In general, it was a very big pleasure for me to play all these pieces. Well, we know that mathematicians make legacies of supervisors, of mathematicians, and almost the same thing we sometimes do among pianists. When I have been finishing my postgraduate studies in Padua Conservatory in Italy, we students were jokingly saying that we studied from Bogino, who studied from Gornostaeva, who studied from Neuhaus, who studied from Zilotti, Zilotti studied from Liszt, Liszt studied from Czerny, Czerny studied from Beethoven, Beethoven from Haydn, Albertsberger, and Mozart studied from Johann Christian Bach. Johann Christian Bach was the son of Johann Sebastian Bach. So in a certain way, I would say that almost every living pianist is a kind of descendant of mastery of these schools. So I am just saying how important was what they did, because these people, in fact, not only created the great pieces, they all created the whole concept, paradigm of writing music for piano. Because piano is not a simple instrument. There is a joke that it is the easiest instrument to start, but hardest to master it. So all these great composers, they created a fantastic musical universe just with one single instrument. But to do everything, we need a piece. So now I'm going to play my very early piece. I wrote it when I was 13 years old, so it's 11 years ago. And this piece is called Rondine Piangente. Title was given in Italian because the world premiere was in Veneto, which means the lament of migratory bird, based on eponymous story by Shungus Aitmatov, great writer. The story is that birds, they want to, they're migrating, so they are flying, but they have no place to rest, to stop, because on Earth there is a war and many other cataclysms. So birds from the top of the sky they are crying and saying to humanity, why you are making war? You are even making troubles even for us. God already created everything for your peaceful life. So this piece which I'm going to play now is my homage to peace, and I just really hope that peace will restore in all the world.